Ananda Rachita explains why.
Thousands of rape kits in the state left in boxes untested. The state received a grant worth $1.4 million to analyze them. However, the money isn't in the state's hands yet. The contract is still being finalized. We reached out to the state's Department of Forensic Science. A program manager told us the whole idea behind the grant process is to outsource these tests to a private lab. They tell us they don't have enough staff to analyze nearly 2,000 untested rape kits. While the Commonwealth waits for the money, departments are preparing. Attorney General Mark Herring and his team are working with law enforcement agencies, while the Secretary of Public Safety and Homeland Security is figuring out long-term policy changes to prevent another backlog. A forensic nurse examiner with Carilion Roanoke Memorial Hospital, Melissa Harper, works with many victims of sexual assaults.
I think it's natural in our head to believe that if you have evidence collected, that something's going to happen with that evidence. And, you know, at this point in Virginia, evidence is not all evidence that's collected is analyzed.
She believes addressing the backlog is the beginning to more changes for victims.
There's not really a true state protocol that I'm aware of that, you know, helps a law enforcement officer or detective decide when to have evidence processed.
The state didn't give us an exact timeline when testing will start or when it will get the money. Leaders say there is a lot of work they're doing now to be ready. In Roanoke, Ananda Rachita, WSLS 10. As part of the lethality assessment protocol, first responders are trained to use a set of 11 questions that can predict if a victim is at risk of further harm. The Franklin County Sheriff's Department is learning about lethality assessment protocol in a training conference in Charlottesville. Sergeant Ken Holland says he's seen the impact of domestic violence firsthand.
I've seen people that have been hurt physically. The emotional scars are just something that you carry with you.
Sergeant Holland is one of more than 125 people from across the state learning about the protocol. LAP helps first responders identify domestic violence situations that may become fatal for a victim. Katrina Hancock with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office says domestic violence isn't necessarily a growing problem, but hoping to see fewer cases of it through this training.
I think with this training, and the interest is that there's so many victims are faced with homicide and have risk factors. So in order for us to get more information out to them and help save their lives, then this training is very important for us.
It may take a few years to see how much this program is helping local agencies here, but it does work. The Attorney General is modeling it after Maryland, which saw success after implementing the protocol.
Maryland has been doing lethality assessment protocol for a number of years now. They showed in a 5-year period there was a 34% drop in domestic homicides. So this is a great opportunity to share those skills, those trainings with folks all across Virginia.
Agencies like Franklin County are going back to their staff and educating them on what they learned this week. In Charlottesville, Ananda Rachita, WSLS 10. In the courtroom today, we heard more from Dean Selby on why he killed his mother using a hammer and knife.
She was a good person. She was kind and gentle.
Selby described his mother as a good person, trustworthy, and an animal lover. However, Selby pleaded guilty to first-degree murder of his mother, Karen Selby's death. Selby talked about that night in detail. Evidence shows he hit his mother's head with a hammer, then stabbed her 68 times with a knife, saying voices in his head made him do it. A few days later, he cut up her body using a hacksaw. The Vinton Police Department investigated the murder. Chief Benjamin Cook was in the courtroom for sentencing today and says it is one of the most gruesome cases he's seen.
It was a case that was pretty horrific and actually pretty tragic for our community as well as for the family of Ms. Selby. I think that it was a good outcome. At least I don't think we'll have any issues anymore with Mr. Selby out of the prison environment.
At the end, the judge said there's nothing easy about this case and that his mother did nothing to deserve what she got. In Salem, Ananda Rachita, WSLS 10. In this classroom in Bedford, people are learning computer skills to help them land a job. John Nichols is one of the students. He says he grew up in a middle-class community and recently hit hard times.
And being in poverty, it's taught me a lot of things. You know, not to judge people, and like you have your, people that are higher up in the community that are quick to judge people who are on these kind of benefits, and I just want that to be kind of expunged.
It's a mindset Bedford County is trying to change through a new initiative called Bridges Out of Poverty. The goal is to better educate the community, working with different socioeconomic backgrounds. Bedford County saw success of the program while visiting Schenectady, New York. Schenectady was able to lower its unemployment and homeless rates through the initiative. Here in the town of Bedford, about 20% of people are living in poverty. Officers with the police department are learning how to communicate better with people who have low incomes, and Chief Todd Foreman hopes it will result in reducing crime.
As we get help for people that are in poverty, we may be able to help them get out of a situation where they may commit a crime. We'll be helping them get the resources so we can maybe prevent some crimes from happening.
The Bedford Community Health Foundation is spending $25,000 for the first year of the program. They're hoping in the next couple of years they'll see success and get people like Nichols a good job and be the one to give back and educate his community. In Bedford, Ananda Rochita, WSLS 10.